Matching my personal strengths, commitments, and values to my profession was not an easy task and did not happen immediately after college. It took me until my 40s, working in numerous jobs in a variety of areas, before I was actually able to achieve success. Since I truly feel that I found my calling working in the educational field, I believe I possess several dispositions that aid me in being a successful teacher. I believe that my sense of compassion is the greatest strength I bring to teaching. I genuinely care about my students and their families and believe building strong relationships is the key to tapping into a child's greatest potential in their academic career. I get to know my students' interests and abilities and utilize this when developing lesson plans. This helps to make my lesson plans more engaging for my students and makes them much more willing to listen attentively and actively participate. I always make sure to have an open line of communication with my students' families and let them know that I'm willing to help them in whatever way I can. This established rapport leads parents to trust in me and know that I want to do what is best for their child. This in turn leads to parents accepting my recommendations. It makes them willing to work with their children at home to reinforce concepts I work on with their child, which can only improve their skills. I have very high expectations for myself, and I also have them for the children I teach. I firmly believe that all students can learn given the right support and learning environment. My number one priority as an early child educator is to instill a love of learning. Building a strong foundation in which a child can grow and develop in their educational career is crucial. If you can get children excited about learning and engage them early on, it will start them off on the right foot and lay the groundwork for success. A large part of this is creating a safe environment where children feel that they can be inquisitive and creative. I feel an important role as a teacher is to give students tools that they can then apply to real life situations. Seeing the building of connections with prior knowledge is an amazing thing to see. I also feel that age should not necessarily determine the curriculum. I am always challenging my students, and I am always amazed at what they can do if given the opportunity. With the proper support, I truly feel they can achieve any goals that are set for them. As a kindergarten teacher, it was incredible to see the growth and development of my students over the course of the school year, and many parents commented on how well prepared they were for first grade. There are also dispositions I need to work on to aid in my personal and professional growth. I feel a huge sense of responsibility as an educator to support and advocate for the children and families I serve. I want to make sure that I'm supporting the individual needs of my students, and this requires assessment and reflection. I do a lot of my assessment by interacting with my students and through observation and using language samples. As educators, it's necessary to evaluate the data we collect. I am not a very analytical person by nature, and I need to work on embracing evaluation tools to help make data collection and evaluation more efficient. I also sometimes find myself worrying so much about the data collection piece that I don't take the time to truly reflect on what teaching techniques and tools have worked best and why. This is especially important because I am now working with preschool special education students. I need to make sure I take the time to do this so I can create a portfolio of tested resources that I can refer to when I have other students that require similar educational supports. I believe it is extremely important to embrace the cultural diversity in the community we serve. This year I made a change, and I'm working in a different community representing a variety of ethnic backgrounds with which I am not so familiar. In order to best relate to my families and students to meet their individual needs, I need to become more familiar with the ethnic backgrounds represented in my community. A great source for this information is the family members of my students. I will be working with parents to find out more about their family traditions to incorporate them into my lesson plans. I will be able to gain valuable information that can help me not only meet the needs of my current students, but future students as well. Those of the education profession are held to extremely high standards. Expectations are placed upon them by students, parents, administrators, and the communities that they serve. As educators, we are expected to be knowledgeable not only in overall educational practices, but also in practices to serve students with special needs. We are expected to keep ourselves up to date in the field as well as provide advice, and resources. In order to uphold these expectations, I plan on fostering the importance of being a lifelong learner by being one myself. I plan on making sure to take advantage of professional education opportunities as well as working with more experienced special education teachers to find out more about their best practices. Reaching out to other professionals in the fields is an extremely worthwhile source of information. In this way, I can make sure that I make the appropriate resources available to my students as well. Educators are expected to create safe and effective learning environments for our students that foster not only their academic education, but their social and emotional education as well. While I don't have a classroom of my own, I still need to create a learning environment that will promote active participation and engagement. I will do this by building a trusting relationship with my students, one in which I provide structure, but also a chance for exploration and choice making. I will also make sure that they feel supported by offering encouragement and celebrating their successes. A safe environment can also be achieved by stressing the importance of respect for others. Teachers should model this respect and professionalism and expect it from their students as well.